Dr. Michael BREUS, America's most renowned sleep doctor, has a 30-day course on the mastery of sleep. This is how to sleep better. Now let's start off with the famous sleep hormone melatonin. Now I wouldn't be surprised if you took melatonin pills because that seems to be the go-to solution for people who don't get the best sleep. That's not the most ideal solution, and here's why. You may take one and it might work, but then a couple nights later you take another one and it's not as effective. So what you do is you take another one, and then another, and then another, and the cycle keeps going until the pills are just completely ineffective. According to Dr. BREUS, most sleep medications should be an aid to breaking an unhealthy sleep cycle and not something you depend on. Johns Hopkins sleep expert Dr. Louis Bonavere says, if melatonin doesn't work for the first week or two, then stop using it. Dr. BREUS says the same about other over-the-counter sleep medications. The point is, your sleep should be natural. You shouldn't be needing much, if any, medication or aid to help you get it. But first, let's talk about how sleep actually works. There are 5 stages of sleep. Stages 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then REM sleep. Yeah, it's not the most creative naming system. Anyway, stage 1 is short, it's simple, it's all about your brain going from awake to asleep. Stage 2 though is about 50% of the entire night. It's where basic regulatory maintenance of the body takes place. Stages 3 and 4 are your physically restorative sleep. So if you're an athlete or you play a sport or you exercise or you've read anything anywhere about exercise, you know that sleep is important for your recovery. And that's where this comes from, or this is where that comes from. Anyways, you get the point. Finally, the stage that personally interests me the most, REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. Now this is your mentally restorative sleep. This stage is when our brains move information from short-term memory into long-term memory. Dreams happen during this stage too. Oh, and get this, you're completely paralyzed during this stage of sleep. And here's why. It's so that you don't act out your dreams. So if you're acting out your dreams, you should probably visit the doctor, and I mean that like seriously, because you could have REM behavior disorder, which is a precursor to Parkinson's syndrome. La samahallah, it's not really a great thing to have, so just go get checked out and rest all our hearts, please, and thank you. Anyways, moving on to sleep cycles. Each sleep cycle is about 90 minutes long. Now stages 3 and 4 occur more frequently during the first half of the night, and REM sleep occurs in the second half of the night. Now here's something you didn't know you had, a chronotype. A chronotype is behavioral manifestation of underlying circadian rhythms of myriad physical processes. In English, a chronotype is your body's natural tendency to sleep at a specific time in the day. Your chronotype doesn't just affect your sleep times though. It also affects your appetite, the best time to exercise, and more. So how do you find out what your chronotype is? It's simple, you just have to answer a few questions. I'll have to link in the description to the quiz that I took, in case you want to follow along and learn more about your own chronotype, in case it's not the same one I have. Which brings me to the actual chronotypes. They are 4, bears, which is about 55% of the population, wolves, which are otherwise known as the night owls, dolphins, which are the inconsistent sleepers, and finally, lions, the early birds. Now everyone everywhere, including me before this course, thought that you needed 8 hours of sleep to function properly throughout your day. But apparently that isn't the case for everyone. I'm a bear. My chronotype says I'm a bear. Bears typically go through 5 sleep cycles, and since each one equates to 90 minutes, that's 450 minutes or 7 hours and a half. Now factor in 20 minutes for falling asleep, and that's 7 hours and 50 minutes. So if you ever wondered where the 8-hour standard came from, there you go. Now like I said, about 55% of people are bears, but don't worry if you're not, I'll still put in the information, just screenshot your chronotypes part and move along. Let me introduce you to the power down hour. Now this is personally for me probably the biggest takeaway I got from this course. As the name suggests, it's an hour dedicated to relaxing and, well, powering down. By the end of the 4 weeks, this is what my power down hour looked like. All screens would be off by the start of the hour since blue light suppresses the body's release of melatonin, and nearly every screen ever emits blue light. Anyways, I take care of my hygiene and all that, and then read for the first 20 minutes. I'll then journal for 10 to 15 minutes. And finally, I'll either listen to some Quran as I try to fall asleep, or I'll just try to fall asleep. Sometimes though, I watch The Office. Now I know I said all screens off, but to be honest, for me, the benefits outweighed the damage. For some weird reason, the blue light emitted from my TV did not affect my sleep at all, but the blue light from my phone was really noticeable. I just couldn't tell the difference until I actually stopped. Now the course said that you should take up the first 20 minutes taking care of things that make you anxious. So stuff like laying out your work clothes or preparing some type of agenda for the next day. Now, those things don't make me anxious, but if they do to you, then you should probably take care of them. The next 20 minutes is for taking care of hygiene, so stuff like taking a hot bath or brushing your teeth or, I don't know, washing your hair, etc. Okay, etc. Okay. Finally, the last 20 minutes is for complete relaxation. So stuff like reading, meditation, sleep exercises, whatever it is. Now, I know what I described is completely different than what I actually do, but I'm a big believer in personal development being custom. I don't think there's always going to be a one-size-fits-all type of instruction. That's why I take all this sort of info as a guideline instead of just blindly following what they say. What I do works for me and it really fits what I'm aiming to achieve. And so I'm winning. Now moving on to the morning routine. Every successful person ever will always emphasize the importance of a productive morning. They'll also often emphasize the impact it has on the rest of your day. So let's go. You should start by drinking some water. Hydration is really important to you because apparently you lose 1 liter of water every night during sleep. Next up, and I can't stress the importance of this, get sunlight. Now, I personally really haven't mastered this habit because I'll get up, I'll drink water, I'll do all the other habits I mentioned, but then that sunlight part, I'll just miss it or I'll feel too lazy, something. I didn't do it often. But trust me, when I did do it, I did feel the difference. Sunlight exposure helps with your circadian rhythm and it's just generally healthy, you know, vitamin D and all that. I'm no doctor anyways. I was actually really curious on why it was such a game changer, and that's because it actually boosts serotonin, which is the happiness hormone. It basically stabilizes things like our mood, our feelings of well-being, and our happiness in general. Next, if you can, take a cold shower. Now, cold showers are known to be a great zap of energy for anyone who needs it in the morning. Again, all these habits should be custom to you. Try them out. What works, what doesn't, just actually give them a chance. Now I have to really pause here. Listen carefully. Don't drink coffee when you first wake up. I know I said personal development is custom, but this part is biological and based on neuroscience, so it's not personal preference, just please listen. Cortisol and adrenaline levels are way too high in the morning for caffeine to even work. If you wait 90 minutes and then have your first cup of coffee, it may actually be all you need. But in case it's not, then 3 to 4 cups of coffee should be the limit. And you should have them all before 2 p.m. This is assuming you're going to sleep between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. Now you could replace your coffee in the first 30 minutes of your morning with a healthy, nutritious breakfast. Try to make your breakfast about 50% protein, 50% carbs, but don't worry about being super accurate. I think you should focus more on quality, so having things like eggs and avocados instead of chips and grilled cheese sandwiches and all that. Because that is a recipe for this word that I can't pronounce. Now moving on to exercise. Starting off with morning runs. If you're looking to burn fat, then you should probably do your morning run about 30 minutes after you first wake up. Evening runs, on the other hand, suppress your appetite if that's what you're looking to do. In general, morning exercise is great for you because it increases alertness. Like I said before, exercise is based on your chronotype. For bears, it's either at 7:30 a.m., assuming you woke up at 7 a.m., or at noon. For the other chronotypes, here are the best times for you. Resistance training, on the other hand, is most effective when your core body temperature is at its warmest. Again, this depends on your chronotype. So for bears, it's between 4 and 7 p.m. Now, personally, I haven't ever tried going to the gym before 4 to 7 p.m. But there are tons of studies that support the idea of efficient resistance training with warm core body temperatures. Anyways, it's the most efficient, but if you can't, well, I'm sure it's fine. Now, there are a bunch of muscle relaxation techniques that you can do. Techniques like the figure 4 stretch, the supine spinal twist, and the savasana, I think I pronounced that properly, all help really relieve tense muscles, which not so surprisingly impacts the quality of your sleep. I've tried them all and I can honestly say the true gem is the supine spinal twist. All this yoga shit's kind of new to me and it's not really my thing as of right now, but trust me, this exercise will give you a new back. I'll put links in the description to guides on how to do the other exercises, but I'll just focus on this one because it's what worked for me. And I just want to give you the most value I can in the shortest time possible. So for this exercise, you have to lie on your back on the bed, bend your knees, roll your knees to the right and turn your head to the left. You'd count for 6 breaths and then switch. You'll feel like bubble wrap, but trust me, feeling is amazing. Now I get that unfortunately many people suffer from things like anxiety, depression, stress, and other things that can really be a mental strain. And so that's why I'm going to give you as many stress relief practices as I can. The first a worry journal. Now, if you've been exploring the self-help world for a while, then you know how beneficial journaling can be, but many people exaggerate it and it can strike fear into beginners because they make it sound like they're writing a book. It can be a sentence or two or half a page, as long as you're getting something out of your mind and onto the paper. Create a table with 2 columns, one labeled worry and the other labeled solutions. The goal isn't to resolve every worry in your mind, but it's to move closer to a solution, or at least to put a step into your plan, because if anything gives us peace of mind, it's definitely certainty. So for example, I could worry about porn infecting every male or female that has ever been exposed to it and has attempted indulging it, but a step in the direction of the solution is educating people on what it does and how to stop. The second stress relief practice, and it's one that I stuck with, is a gratitude journal. It's as simple as writing 5 or more things that you're grateful for every single day. Trust me, as soon as you contemplate the number of things that you can be grateful for, you'll find it impossible to run out of things that you're grateful for. The third one is guided imagery, and it's not really my thing, but there are tons of audios on YouTube. The fourth is actually a bit stupid, and it's playing mind games on yourself. One of the best mind games you can play on yourself is counting backwards from 300 in threes. It keeps your mind so busy that it does not have the mental capacity to race and think about like a million other things. By the way, the reason your brain races so much at night is probably because it didn't have enough time during the day to do that. So if you're too busy trying to take care of a million things, don't forget to take care of yourself first. Now the fifth one is meditation, and meditation is an entire world on its own. So I don't think I can do it justice just yet, but hopefully in the future I'll be able to do that. The sixth practice is the 4-7-8 breathing technique. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale completely in 8 seconds. Emphasis on the completely because most people don't completely breathe out all the air they just inhale. Finally, the seventh practice is deep diaphragmatic breathing, which is basically just a deep inhale then a really slow exhale. I think the real benefit of this one is focusing on completing the technique and not actually completing the technique. Now, all the things I said in this video are completely useless unless you 1. Apply, and 2. Stay consistent, or at least try to be. The single most important thing is to stay consistent with your sleep-wake times. If you apply the changes that I mentioned, then you will actually see a difference just like I did. But again, I repeat, you don't have to do everything. Doing everything is great, sure, but it's not really ideal. Like I said, I'm a big believer of personal development being custom. Of course, taking the path of resistance is great, but there should always be a balance, and only you can set that type of balance. If I had to choose one thing for you to come out of this video with, it would probably be the power down hour. It's great, it's really effective. And here's a small tip: if you're ever in a rush to form any habit, just start with making it a must. Make it a must, make it a must, make it a must, and inshallah, I guarantee that you will be able to slowly solidify it. Now, I'm not at 5 million subscribers just yet, but I promise I'll remember you when I get there. So like this video if you did, and subscribe if you'd like to. I don't really care as long as you got the value and benefit I was trying to provide. Ooh yeah. Yalla, take care and be safe.